Hi guys, my name is Daniel Gachunji and you're watching The Konect, Overcome and Become. You're welcome. Daniel Gachunji is a man who was born in a very humble place called Muranga in Kiharo. I'm married to one wife, beautiful wife called Nancy, father to two children. Yeah, and we moved to Australia about 8 years ago, and now we're here. So that's if I start talking about Daniel, it's a long story. Just a nutshell.
Amazing. So with that small introduction of Moranga, so growing up in Moranga and you being who you are now, how did that musical journey? Where did you know that you could sing? Let's talk about the musical journey back in Moranga.
My musical journey started. You see, I was born. I would say I was born in church because when I was born, I found my dad was a church elder, and my mom was a Sunday school teacher. So when I was very young, I started going to school and singing all those. Father Abraham had many sons. So every Sunday you had usually call it back home kutoa ushuhuda. You have to give testimony. And then as you graduate at the age of around 5, now you start singing a song, maybe one verse. Father Abraham, Memenisa, Memenisa. You don't even know the words, but you still sing. So we started there. But then at the age of 7, I started now singing seriously. Like I would even be called to camps and go and sing, lead praise and worship. So from 7 is now when my journey actually kicked off.
At the age of
At the
7.
age of 7.
Wow. And now how did you graduate that now to being a musician at the age of maybe back in Kenya from the age of 7? When did that materialize to becoming now I can do this for maybe a hobby or for a living?
See, what happened, there was he was a lecturer in Desta University. And he used to come from Desta and come to Moranga Full Gospel with these Congolese musicians. So like, I used to love how they used to blend their voices. It was different from the kegosho that we used to do back then in Moranga. So that is when I started now writing songs. At the age of around 11, 13, we started, my brother and I started writing songs. It's called Jemo, is in the US. We started writing songs. So I would say at the age of 12, that is when I wrote my first song. I wrote my first song. It was a Kikuyu song. It was very good. Like every Sunday, lazima tungeambiwa you have to sing every Sunday, like this song, and they insist on this one. And then I wrote a second one. They forgot about the other one. Now I started. So from the age of 12, that is when now I started writing my own music. And then now, it is a journey. I went through some few issues.
And that's why we're here
It's a
today.
journey.
That's why we're
It's
here
a
today.
journey.
So after doing that and people appreciating your music, did you now decide to do that as a career, or what really happened, and what are the challenges you met along the way with that musical journey?
Hey man, you need to grab some popcorn, bro. You know what happened? At the age of 13, that is when Camaro got saved. If you remember Camaro, and then he started this big group that they used to call Christ Campaigners. So what happened is that he came to Moranga, and then people insisted that the Geshokes have lazima waimbe, the Geshokes, we want to hear them perform. So akauliza Geshokes ni akina nani? So me and my bro were called, and we went to do to sing. We sang our 2 songs. It was going on. The crusade was going on for about 3 days. So every day they wanted to sing. So when Camaro finished the crusade, they got our contact. That is when Akina Gedai were discovered, Modoni. We used to sing in the same stage. Very big people right now in music. So Camaro told me, you know what? Go talk to your parents. Then you can come and start producing music. So I talked to my parents. My dad was not about it because he's this man who believed in masomo. You have to study for you to become something. Actually, I remember there's a time I called Camaro from his studio, Nazile booth. And then he made a journey up to our home. He came to our home to talk to my dad. My dad was like, no, my children have to study. Man, I hated music there and then. I hated music. Like my dad, this is my breakthrough, and then you just yani, like I hated music, like I can't sing anymore. So then I got from music, and then I went to acting. So from high school, you see, 13 years, that is when you go to high school. So from high school, now that is when I went to theater full time. Like even in church, when people were singing, I used to just eat my lips. I never used to produce any sound. I hated singing. Like you'd sing around me, I would just walk away, you know. So I went into acting, and acting was very good for me. I remember when I was Form 1, it was a very good induction to drama because we won in the national, it's called the Boomerang. So my love for theater now started there until the age of, then it's long story, I went to National Theatre, then went to KTN, started writing scripts for Club Kiboko, and I became now an actor, known one, and they used to call me Paka Waka Puspus in Club Kiboko KTN. So I forgot everything about music, kabisa. I forgot everything and I gave it up, like I even don't remember I used to sing. Now, 2012, I went for a Kesha. Guess who was performing? Paul Mwai. Paul Mwai, we have a long story because we used to go to Sunday school together. And we grew up. I remember I'm the first person who gave Paul Mwai microphone. Kamwambia, try singing, because you always hang around us when you're practicing. Can you try sing? But when he sang, everyone saying, hey, this guy is singing like a girl, like that voice. So, but I kept on encouraging him. So when I went for the Kesha, he saw me and he gave a testimony. And he said that he was inspired by the Gishukis. I was like, hey, by the way, there's a shame I used to sing. Like I inspired Paul Moy to sing. That is now when I turned back and I was like, you know what? I think I should go back to my singing. So I did my first album. That was 2012. I did my first album in 2013. Now, I didn't have money. I sold my car. I remember it was a G touring K80. It was not fun in my house selling a family car because you want to go on you want to go to music. And then I went to the city and talked to my friends. I told them I want to start music. Nairobi. Nairobi. Character development. My friend, Viboko. So another friend of mine took me, like, I'm forgetting the name of the building. In that building, there are about 300 producers. Each of them has a keyboard like this one there. And everyone, a keyboard and a microphone. They'll tell you, man, you come out, do your music, you'll go home with your song. Hey, I remember I sold my G touring at 400,000 Kenyan shillings. I wasted my money in that building. I wasted about $100,000 Kenyan shillings. And at the end of the day, I can't tell you what I sang. Nothing came out of it. So that is when I talked to one friend of mine, and then he sent me to one guy who is still producing me right now called Abedingo. So that is now where I did my good album and then started selling it. So now that is where we are. I did my first album in 2013 after a lot of struggle and losing a lot of money in Nairobi.
Now starting now to sell and seeing that this is something you can actually get money for. Was it worth it? Is it something that pays? Maybe back then, before you come to your transition to this other side, does it pay musically? Was it worth it? Yes.
It depends. It depends. Oh man, mine. I don't think mine ever paid. To be honest, I remember one time I went to Mombasa and I was called by PCA Makupa. I went performing there. We performed very well. People don't know who these guys. The songs are good, okay, but one CD, we used to sell CDs. It was 100 shillings. The pastor was very generous. Like he said, you know what? I will buy 10 of them. That's 1,000. I'll buy 10 of them, and then the washirikas, if any of you want to buy, you can buy. So I got some people buying. I sold about 25 of them. And then one guy told me, by the way, your songs are very good. We are having a launch for another sister. I don't know where in Changamwe. Can you come? I'm like, hey, man, I'm getting it. I'm getting there. Now, little did I know, when you go for these launches, you're supposed to be chucking money for those people who are launching their songs. So you're not just there to sing and then sell your CDs. You're supposed to be supporting that person. Do you know who I met who was singing there? I met Danem. big superstar. I met, what do you call this lady who was sang Modoereri? A very big lady like in music, Jerry, someone. So I'm there. They're expecting to sell their CDs and I'm also expecting to sell mine. Lucky enough, the photo that I've taken, I'll show you the photo that I've taken for my CD was nice and had bleach and I don't know, looking good. Some ladies bought, for whatever reason they bought, even before listening to my music. Now it came to the time of blessing. Now the person, it's called blessing, the person now who is releasing their songs. So I went to my pocket. In my head, I'm thinking I'm chucking maybe 250s. My friend, I chucked the 2,000. All the money I'd gotten that day. Hey, then I'm calling my wife. I'm like, and I'd already told my wife, hey, man, I've sold 2,500. Man, I'm becoming big now. So, hey, and then I'm calling her, hey, baby, can you just send me fare? I'm like, she's like, where did you take money? I know Mombasa is tough, but what happened within Mombasa? I was like, long story. So she sent me money. I went back home, man. I was feeling like, God, no, this music is just. And then funny thing, there are these churches you'll go to, and then the pastor will say, piga magoti, we pray for you, we bless you, our ministry. And then you go home hungry. And you're around looking at a brother who looks like he could be having 100 shillings to give you to go back. Hey, it's not easy.
So with all these challenges, how did you overcome those challenges before now we transition to coming to Australia? How did you overcome those challenges back then?
See, music, what God has put in you is like a wound. You can't hide it. It's like cancer. It will keep eating in you. You can't stop. It doesn't matter how things go. Like it is in you. It will keep eating in you until the time you do it. So now, I remember because my first album was 2013 and I came here 2014. I remember when I was coming, I had printed almost 1,000 CDs because now I'm becoming big. I start thinking big. But by the time I was coming, I was like, who's gonna sell my CDs for me? Anyway, who's gonna give me the money back? So I gave them all out. Now, come to Australia. The wound is still there, it's biting, you have to continue singing. But singing where and singing to who? At least in Kenya, you have some platforms. You can go from one church to the other, and you say, niko na ushuhuda na niko na wimbo, I have a testimony and I have a song. But now, this is Australia. I remember the first place I landed was one church called Enjoy Church. It's a mega church that has about 10,000 members. So now I thought, this is the place now. Look at that stage. Look at those lights. Come on, it's time for me now. I tried getting in the choir. My friend. The first interview, it did not even last 2 minutes. Just asking me, tell us about you, so that I can get into the choir. Man. My accent itself would not allow me even to step on that stage. No, I asked God, okay, you brought me here. I hear abroad is a cemetery for artists and talents. I started looking for churches. There are no African churches that I can at least go sing my kegosho, because then what I was doing, I was singing kegosho. These are Kikuyu songs. So are you gonna sing to Kikuyu songs in Australia? So it was tough. So now I started looking for people around. Now, one day I went working with a friend of mine. So we went for break. It's not a friend of mine. He's a friend of mine now. He's called Prince Tae. So we went to work, and then break time, there's a place we usually go sit down. And I'm seeing this guy with headphones listening to music. I'm like, he's from Sierra Leone. So I'm like, hey, my friend, what are you listening to? Like, I'm listening to music. What kind of music? He told me gospel. Okay. You love gospel music? He's like, yeah, I'm born again. I'm like, I'm also born again. And I was like, are you a gospel, in the gospel ministry? Or, yeah, he told me I produce my own music. I produce music. I'm like, I also do the same. So he told me, can I listen to your songs? Okay, the only songs I have is Kewasho. I had never done any English song. So this guy tells me, okay, let me listen. He could not understand anything, but he told me, I can hear this. Your voice is not very bad. There's some vibe going on, but I didn't understand what he's saying. So I told him, okay, I can write a Swahili song, and then you come in with your pidgin English. He was like, you go ahead and do it. So that is when we did Weka Imani. Remember the song? Weka Imani, usijali matatizo. Weka Imani, na ungoje matokeo. Very nice song. So he came in with the pidgin or whatever English, and then I came in Swahili. And now that is now when the journey started. That is how the journey started in Australia. Not meaning it has been easy, but that is now the beginning.
And how is that transition now? When now you've seen all the challenges, how did you manage to even start and stay afloat from that now the introduction to music in Australia?
Now, we had to come up, Prince and I had to come up with a way of now maintaining our music. Now, I asked him, how do you usually do your music? Now, he opened my eyes because he told me he has a producer in Ghana. Actually, it's not very hard. He has a producer in Ghana. So he sends him some voiceovers, like the music, the way you want it done. And then they do video calls. And he sends the music to him. And then the producer sends back the beats and programmed beats, and then now you put your voices and all that. So that he opened my eyes, and then that is when I called my producer back home and told me, I told him, hey, what's happening? What's going on? Can we be doing these too? Like, I send you my music. So now what I usually do, I'll go to my phone, record my song, send it to my producer. He thinks about it, and then I call him. You have to wake up at night because you have to go with the times of Kenya. You do active night when you're doing music. So I have to set my alarm, get up at around midnight, and then call him, video call. And then I start singing. Now we program the song, and then he sends me the beats. And then I come to studio, record myself, and then send it back to him for mastering and all that.
And how's that? Is it not really challenging in itself? And how do you overcome that?
Bro, in music, nothing is easy. You have to be resilient. For instance, I know I've lost about 150,000 Kenyan shillings with fake producers, especially these very big producers. I remember there's one, I'll not mention the name, very big one. I was like, man, he's done very good music and all that. I sent him my song, sent him about 30,000 Kenyan shillings for the whole song. He sent me a very different beat, and I was like, this is someone's project. He told me, no, that's how I work. I'm like, please, can we just calm down? We discuss, because it's not what I expected. He told me, no, that's how I do my job. I've sent you the beat, you put your whatever, come up with your song, put it there, and then I'll do the whatever. And of course, if it's not something, whatever you wanted to do, it's not easy to do it. And that has happened to me with several people. And then you want to do a collab with a person. Actually, right now, there's someone I'm doing a collab with. He's not a bad guy, but he's busy. And you understand he's busy doing things and that in Kenya. But you send them money, but now you have to work with their time, not with your time. And you have this project, this song that you want to do within this duration of time. But again, you have to wait until they are ready, not when you are ready. So patience. Imani, pasipo majaribu we. Hiyo imani, mwenzangu haipo. Imani, pasipo matendo. Hiyo imani, mwenzangu imekufa. If you want to listen to that song, go to my YouTube, Gachunji Music, Dan Gachunji Music. Utakuta zote, you'll find all of them there. Be blessed. Remember, this is Konekt.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, are you ready for the biggest sporting activity in Melbourne, powered by The Konect, brought to you by the Kenya Community Victoria this October, the 22nd Mashujaa Day Festival. Registration is now open. Go to Mashujaa Day Festival or www.kcv.org.au to register for the competitive but the fun games are open.
In music, you say, take two. Welcome back for take two.
Amazing.
Yes.
So how are you staying afloat in Australia? How are you making it work? Because it looks like a very big challenge. So maybe you can point some few things which maybe someone who's trying to be a musician can work on that and maybe stay afloat like yourself.
Staying afloat in Australia now is not very hard, because now we have very many Kenyan churches, African churches, so many events coming in. Now, if you get into music, I don't call it industry, I call it ministry. If you get into music industry, if you get into music ministry in Australia, don't get into it for the money. Because there's no money in Australia. Not like Kenya where people will do skiza and whatever tunes. Just get in it for the love of the gospel and love of music. I always tell people it's very easy to do secular music, but it's not easy to do gospel music because it's confined in a book called the Bible. And you have, if anything you're doing that is not in there, then it's not for Jesus. And we do all of these for Jesus. If you want to do secular, you can just get up and come up with anything, but we are confined there. Now, don't do it for the views and likes. I know of a friend who had started music, and I know he'll be watching. And then he started because he did a very nice song, and he was like, "This is a big one." He invested a lot of money, and then when he put the song for the family to listen, it was around 6 p.m. And then the wife goes like, "Hey, baby, 60 minutes is about to start." Like, oh God, you've not even listened to half of my music. So don't do it for the likes and the views. If you get there, you'll be disappointed. So for one, get in it for the love of music. That is how I stay afloat. I'm in it for the love of music, not for the money. One song, to finish one song will cost you almost $800, even sending back and forth and all that, instruments and all that. That money is not going to come back. No one is going to pay you to go to church and sing. It's not like Kenya. So do it for the love of music. Throw it into YouTube. Let God bless his people. You never know. God has opened doors to many people. If God feels that it's time for you to start making income, then that's God's own appointed time. But don't get in it for the money. Don't get in it for the views and likes. Otherwise, you'll be heartbroken. I've seen people who've invested a lot, and then you go looking at your views in YouTube, it's only 5 views and no likes. And you give up. So you have to be strong. You have to be strong.
So where are you currently and what are you working on? Maybe there are projects coming up and what are you working on currently?
Now I was back home in Kenya about a month ago, and I met some few people. There's some people I'm working with. Pitson, I'll be working. I'm still talking to my sister Masi Masika. It's not easy, but tutafika. Shusho, you're talking to Christina Shusho. So kuna project tunaendelea nazo, and I'm also doing my own ones without doing, and I'm also doing another one with Pastor Sam, a worship. You know, it's not easy to do worship. He's training me how to do worship because me, I'm a Kegosho guy. Remember, I'm from Moranga. Eh? I'm from Moranga, and me, I'm the one who used to play the drum. Eh?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm working on some few things.
And do you have any maybe currently that you're working on that we can maybe?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. That's...
This one is called Handover. Eh? Ukifanya kazi ya Mungu, atafanya kazi yako, atakufanyia. Sikiza tu kidogo, just a little bit. It's a Swahili song. Ukifanya kazi ya Mungu, anafanya kazi yako. Ukifanya kazi ya Mungu, anafanya kazi yako. Just a little bit of it. When it's done, I'll do a video, and if you're in Australia, then in Melbourne, I might also invite you for the video shoot. Please make sure you come. For those who love shaking leggy for Jesus.
So with now we've seen you doing very well and you have projects going on, but looking at your journey with the challenges you sell and then you give the money, bless
With all the money, start asking money from home.
How have you build that strong mental resilience, and what advice can you tell other musicians out there to build a very good mental frame to actually go through, being a music minister, as you called it?
If you want to be a good in the ministry, don't be a loner. Get some few people who have maybe journeyed in the journey and talk to them. Don't surround with yourself with naysayers. Like, it's very hard, your voice could be better if you sang like this. People who appreciate you, and people then people who tell you spot on, like, whatever is happening, can you try do this because I don't think this is right. And if 3 people tell you that this Ngoma, the way this song is going is not right, get some few people, a clique of at least 3-4 people who will tell you straight on, this is not, you could have done this. Like for this one, the song, I sent it to my Pastor Sam, and he told me, I'm not hearing so much about Jesus in there. I'm like, I've not done verses yet. You see, someone will challenge you. So that's how I do it. Like, you have to keep, iron sharpens iron. Get people, like there is a group of about 10 ministers of gospel here in Australia. We have a group, and we always talk. And we talk like straight talk. Like, no, that song, I don't think it's going like this. Can you try do this? Iron sharpens iron. So that's how I've been able to stay afloat. Don't be a loner. Don't be a superstar. Like, I don't need to talk to anyone. I'm the best, Be humble, Be humble. If you're called upon to go sing, don't say, no, I can't sing in that platform. Go for it. Come on. Keep doing it. Keep doing it over and over. Go to the bathroom when no one is there. Do the whole shower. Scream your head off. Or lock yourself in your car. Go to the highway. Start screaming your head off, and people are wondering, what is wrong with that guy?
So let's talk about mental health.
Yeah.
As a musician, how do you take care of your mental health? And are there times you felt it has really gotten into you because you've wasted money, not wasted money, you've lost money along the journey? How did you manage to just be mentally sane?
Be prayerful. Trust in God. God's at his own time he'll come. And I don't want to sound so much spiritual because we are living in this world. Find another thing to do. Find another hobby that you do, Don't just focus yourself like your head in, if it's music, it's music. And then I have a very supportive wife too, I talk to, and my children too, and I have a very good support base. Otherwise, there is some point I'd felt like I would give up and concentrate with other things, but you have to keep going. Know where you are in it. If you're in it for the gospel, then you wouldn't stop. But you're in it for other things. If you're looking for fame and you're looking for money and you're looking for likes and all that, then it will get into you. But if you're there for the gospel, then you'll keep going. And then at his own appointed time, God will bless you at his own appointed time. That's how it's there afloat. Just praying and getting a good support base. My pastor, talking to my pastor, talking to my peers, talking to my family, my wife and my children. They support me and I'm good to go.
So if Dan is not singing, what does Dan do?
Dan is laughing. I'm not singing, I'm laughing. And I love doing a lot of drives and all that. And I love crashing into parties. So I'm a happy man. So when I'm not singing, either working, making money, laughing a lot, making a lot of jokes out of nowhere, I'm a happy man.
And if someone can want to reach you, support you, and maybe get some advice or a mentorship, maybe you can tell them something that maybe might guide their path in Australia musically. How can they get can support you, get hold of you?
I'm okay. I can give them my number, but not now. I have to ask my wife for permission. You just get into my YouTube. Leave me a comment there. I'll see it. Dan Gachunji music. Just drop me a text there, and then we can talk from there.
And looking back, now this is as we end up looking back where you started, where you are now. Is music worth it?
Music is worth it. But again, it depends on what you're looking at. If you're looking at your spiritual nourishment, it's worth it. Music is everything. To me, music, if I stay for a day without humming something or coming up with something, I think I will have a stomachache. Music, it's worth it. And I've seen, for instance, I'll tell you this. If you're looking, I don't mind those people who monetize their talents, because the Bible says that the talent God has given you will make you dine with kings. You're not gonna dine with kings in tatters. You'll have to be well dressed. I mean, so it's okay to monetize your music. There's nothing wrong with it. People back home are making good money. So do this. Do your music, do it well, throw it in Spotify, throw it in YouTube. If you get a chance to go to Kenya, put it into Skiza Tunes and whatever, Boomplay and all that. Get some money. There's nothing wrong with getting money. I'm also looking at maybe recouping some of the money that somehow, when at God appointed time. But I wouldn't dwell in that if I don't make this kind of money, man, I'm like, there's some musicians in Kenya, they usually say, if God doesn't give me a Range Rover, this and that, I'm giving up. No. Do it and just forget about it. Like you throw the bread into the water. It will come back to you.
Yeah. And does music pay in Australia?
I don't know yet. I'm yet to receive even $1 from the music I do. Look, I find it very difficult to negotiate that if I'm coming to your event, you have to pay me these thousands, because I don't think anything. I cannot quantify the talent that God has given me. I wouldn't mind if I come to an event and you give me 10,000. Man, I'm happily I'll pay my mortgage. But really, I've always gone into my events in the notion that I'm just going to serve God at his own appointed, as I always say, at his own appointed time. Hey, some dollars will be landing. I'm waiting for that time. It's all about Jesus. The music we are doing, the talents that God has given us to serve him with, it's all about Jesus. Anything else that diverts you from Jesus, whether it's fame, whether it's money, those are some other small gods. So if you're into the industry, go for it. Go for it with the right mentality. Surround yourself with the right people, and you'll make it. Talk to us. There are studios here in Melbourne for those who do want to do music. If you're in Adelaide, there are studios in Adelaide. Talk to us. Don't just sleep on your talent because you don't know where the studios are. This is a big studio we have here, and I'll lead you through the path and the way to do your music. But I cannot do that if you're coming in the wrong mentality. If you're coming in for Jesus, let's do this for Jesus.